Hello everyone, myself Navyatha Ravi, working as Assistant Professor in the Department of Cybersecurity and Data Science in MLR Institute of Technology. In today's session, we are going to discuss about database system structure and database design. In the last video, we have discussed about the introduction to DBMS, and in today's session, we are going to discuss the database system structure. And the overview of this video includes database system structure, database languages, introduction to database design and data models. So first let's go with database system structure. So this structure, which includes 4 levels. The first level includes different types of users, and the second level includes APIs. Third level includes query processor, and the fourth level includes the storage manager. These are the levels which include to interact with the database. So here the first level, which includes different types of users. One of the users is nothing but naive users. So naive users are the users who interacts with the database by using already written program, right? So these are the type of users interact with the database by already written program. And what are the application programmers will do? Application programmers will build application programs, complex programs. These are the software professionals, those build application programs and to interact with the database. And the third type of users, sophisticated users. These are the types of users who interact with the database by already query tools, by already developed query tools or some languages, SQL, structured query languages. So sophisticated users are the users who interacts with the database by already developed languages, one of the languages like SQL, structured query languages. And the last type of users is nothing but database administrator, shortly we call it as DBA. So he is the whole and sole responsible person to maintain the database, right? So whether any kind, these are the users who interact with the database must get permission from the DBA. That means the DBA must grant or revoke the permissions. He has that responsibility, right, to interact with the database. So these are different types of users, the first level. And the second level, as we all discussed, that second level deals with different types of APIs. That means we interact with the user interacts with the database by these application programs. So, and the third level represents query processor. This includes the compiler. This includes these phases, or this level includes the compilers. So, what are the compilers here? DML compiler, DDL interpreter. So here DML, DDL are nothing but different database languages that we will discuss in the next slides. So here the sophisticated users are the users interact with the database through DML compiler. That means he interact with the database by some DML commands, by using some DML commands, data manipulation language commands, and those commands will be compiled and interpreted. So that will be done by using in this phase, that is what query processor. And here database administrator, he used to design a database, that is nothing but schema. Schema is nothing but designing a database, that we have already discussed in the last video, right? So here the DBA used to design a database by using some DDL commands. So those DDL commands will be interpreted by this query processor and submitted to query evaluation engine. These compiled things will be submitted to query evaluation engine, and later on from this query evaluation engine, whatever the data that we have requested, that will be go through a storage manager. So this phase includes different types of files or managing files like that. For example, transaction manager, buffer manager, file manager. So these are different types of, let us say these are different types of files. That means here transaction manager, the responsibility of transaction manager is to manage the different kinds of transactions, whether the transactions are performing in a sequential manner or in a concurrent transactions are going to take place or not in a correct manner. right? So that is the responsibility of transaction manager. So what is the responsibility of buffer manager? So buffer manager, he used to deal with what kind of data must be kept in main memory and what kind of data must be kept in the disk, like that. That is the responsibilities of this storage manager. And next, coming to the disk storage, here we have different types of data files, indices, statistical data, data dictionary, metadata. So the disk contains these types of different elements. So in this manner, we used to represent the overall structure of DBMS. The first level includes the different types of users. The second level represents the APIs, whether the types, the first type of users, how they interact with the database. And the third level represents the query processor, that is nothing but whatever the data asked by the user will be compiled and interpreted in this level, and next given to the storage manager phase, and then the data will be retrieved from the disk. So this is what the system structure in detail. Now let us discuss this structure and the components involved in this structure. As I have already told you, the first level database users, second level APIs or query tools, and the third level query processor, and the fourth level storage manager, and the fifth level disk storage. And let us discuss the very important and the most important topic in the database management systems is about database languages. And we have four types of database languages. So here we have DDL, which represents data definition language, DML, data manipulation language, DCL, data control language, and transaction control language, shortly TCL. So what is the purpose of these languages? So generally, what is the purpose of a language in real time? If at all we are speaking in English, that means the other person must understand whatever we are speaking, right? That means language is nothing but which is used to communicate. So which is used to interact with others. So if at all the user or human beings want to interact with the database, then we must use some languages. So those languages is nothing but these are the database languages to interact with the database. Here we have four types of languages. So let's deal with the first one, DDL, data definition language. The name itself, we used to define a database by using this DDL commands. We used to define the structure of a database by using this DDL commands. So here use a data definition language which is used to define the structure of a database and for creating tables, schemas, indexes, etc. in a database. So by using DDL, we used to create a structure of a database. For creation, we use some of the commands, and those commands include create, alter, drop, truncate, and rename. So these are the 5 commands includes in DDL, shortly data definition language, right? So here create command, by using create command we can create databases, we can create tables, we can insert records into the tables, right, by using. So let us deal this one with for example, let us deal this create command by using an example. So create table, for example, student name, create table student, which includes the attributes student ID, which is of integer data type, student name, which is of character data type. So create table, this is what we call as table name, create table, table name, and the attributes, that means whatever the attributes that we use to insert in this table. So if at all we use to give this command, then a table will be created by using the table name student, and whatever the attributes that we have given, ID and name. So the first column represents ID and the second column represents name. So by using this create command, a structure of a table will be created. So in this manner we use different kinds of commands to create a database, just like alter. So alter command is used to manipulate the columns. If at all we used to add one more column, for example mobile number, if at all I used to add one more column, that is mobile number. This is possible by using alter command, right. So next, drop. To drop a table, if at all we use to delete a table, to drop a table, then we use this drop command, drop table, table name, that is the syntax. Anyways, we will go through these concepts thoroughly while doing the lab sessions, right. Next, fourth one is truncate. So this is the command which is used to remove all the rows at a time without specifying any condition. That is what truncate command, which is used to remove all the rows in a table, but the structure of the table remains the same. The structure of the table will not be deleted. And next, the last one is rename. If at all I used to rename a table name, for example, student, the table name is still now student. If at all I used to rename this student to, for example, student 1, then I can rename student to student 1 by using this rename command. So these are the 5 different types of commands in DDL, data definition language. Now let us discuss with DML, data manipulation language. The manipulation itself indicates that we are doing some more manipulations or modifications or updations, right. So here this DDL is used to manipulate the database like insertion, updating or deleting a record from a table. So here DML commands includes select, insert, update, delete. Select is nothing but which is a command which is used to retrieve information from a particular table. And insert, if at all we used to insert any type of values, then we can able to use this one, insert command. Next, update. If at all we want to update our data, already existing data we want to update, then we use this update command. And next, delete. Delete is a command which is used to delete a particular row or delete multiple rows by considering a specific condition. Here, by using this delete command, condition must be specified. To delete, what kind of rows must we have to delete. That is what here these 4 includes in DML, data manipulation language. These are the commands. Next, data control language. So here the name itself, what is controlling? What is controlling? So if at all we want to interact with the database, we must have the permissions, and those permissions must be managed by DBA, database administrator. So the unauthorized persons may not access the database. If at all they used to access the database, then it might cause some disturbances, right? Why? Because the database will be used by several users multiple times, right? So the access must not be given to each and everyone, and that will be managed by database administrator. So what is the responsibility of this language is, it is used to give permissions to access the data and also to revert back the permissions by using which commands? Grant and revoke. Grant command is used to give the permissions to the user, and revoke command is used to take back the given permission from the user. So these two comes under data control language. Now the next one is we are going to discuss about transaction control language. So which is used to control the transactions, the number of transactions that we are going to perform, whether we are performing in a sequential manner or a concurrent manner, right? So this includes the commands commit, rollback, save point. Commit means here if at all we used to do the changes in a permanent manner, then we use this command. Rollback. Rollback means we used to roll back whatever the changes that we have done till now, just like control set. Next, save point. So this save point acts as what? A particular point. From that particular point, we need to do some other changes, right? So here these are the 3 commands. These are the 3 commands that comes under transaction control language. So till now we have discussed about 4 types of languages: DDL, DML, DCL and TCL. DDL, we have 5 commands: create, alter, drop, truncate and rename. These are the 5 commands that comes under DDL. DML, select, insert, update and delete. These are the 4 commands under DML. Next, DCL, grant, revoke. These two commands comes under DCL, and TCL, commit, rollback, save point. So, these three comes under this TCL. Next, let us deal with database design. So, design is nothing but a blueprint, right? So, it is a blueprint or a design to store and manipulate the data. It is organization of data according to the database models. So, here we have to represent a data in a particular format, we have different types of data models, right? So, here the designer determines what data must be stored and how the data elements are interrelated with each other. Here we have different phases in a database design. Database design includes different phases. First one is requirement analysis phase, conceptual database design, logical database design, schema refinement, physical database design, and security design. So, what is this requirement analysis phase will do? In this phase, we used to gather the requirements by using some techniques called fact-finding techniques. Fact-finding techniques. We used to gather the requirements, whatever the software that we are going to develop, or else the program that we are going to write, or else whatever the thing we are going to develop. First of all, we need to know the requirement, right? So, based upon these requirement only, we used to build a program, or else a software, or else a building. So, in the same phase, in the same manner, in this phase, requirement analysis phase, we used to gather all the requirements by using a techniques called fact-finding techniques. And later on, we used to document all these requirements, and that document is called as requirement specification. Requirement specification, that is what we call as the document. All the requirements will be gathered by using the fact-finding techniques, and those will be documented in a particular document, and that is called as requirement specification document. So, this is the functionality of requirement analysis phase. Next, coming to conceptual database design. So, this includes the entities and the relationships among these entities. So, what is an entity? It is nothing but a real world object, which can be a living thing or non-living thing. For example, here a student is an entity, right? Or example, course is another entity. So, student is a living thing, course is a non-living thing. It is a real world object which can be living thing or non-living thing. And the relationships among these objects will be dealt in this phase, conceptual database design. Next, logical database design. Logical database design deals with the refining of the above level. This means here we have built these two, and we used to refine these two. If any modifications has to be done, or else any repetitions or redundancies are there, then it will be refined in this level, logical database design level. Next, the fourth one is schema refinement. Schema is nothing but, as we have already discussed, the design of a database, overall design of a database. That is what we call as schema. And that will be refined, whether we have any redundancies or else inconsistencies, that will be refined in this level. Next, physical database design. This deals with the internal storage structures. That means whatever the data that we use to store, what type of data structures that we are using, that is dealt by using this level, physical database design. And the last one is security design. So, in this security design, we used to provide more security by using here the whole and sole responsibility was given to a DBA, database administrator, and he used to take care of authorized users, unauthorized users, and he used to give permissions to access the data only for the authorized users. So, these are the 6 phases that involved in database design. Next, coming to data models. So, what is a model? It is nothing but just like a structure, right? So, it is a mean of modeling to give a shape to the data, a particular shape to a particular data. That is what we call as modeling. So, here data model makes it easier to understand the meaning of data by its figure. That means by its a diagrammatic representation. So, here we have 3 types of models: object based model, record based model and physical data model. What is object based model? Object based model is used to describe the data at logical and view level. As we have previously discussed, what are the levels involved, right? So, what are the levels involved? Physical level, logical level and view level. Physical level deals with what? Physical level deals with how data is stored in a database. How data is stored in a database. Next, logical level deals with what kind of data? What kind of data is stored and the relationships among data. What is view level? View level deals with the interaction, user interaction with the database, user interaction with database. So, physical level deals with what? It is nothing but the innermost level deals with the storage structures, implementation detail, the storage structures, right? And the logical level deals with what kind of data? That means nothing but in the form of tables, right? And the relationships among those data, that will be dealt in logical level. And next, view level. So, this level represents what? The interaction with the database, and this level doesn't know the implementation of details of the below two levels. So, here this logical model, object based logical model used in describing the data at what? Which levels? Logical and view levels. Logical and view levels. That means we are not touching the implementation details, how the data is stored, by using which data structures, how those data structures will be implemented. Those are irrelevant. That is what abstraction here, right? So, this level includes, this model includes ER model, object oriented model, semantic data model and functional data model. So, these are different kinds of models that comes under object based logical model, and we used to discuss each and every model in the later sessions. Next, record based logical model, which is used in describing the data at the logical and view level, obviously, and it stores data in the form of records. That means here we used to deal with the tables. In the tables, the data will be stored in the form of a record. So, this model includes relational model, network model and hierarchical model. Relational model is nothing but a data which is present in the form of tables, in the form of rows and columns. That is what we call as relational model. So, next, the last one is physical data model, which gives the description of data at lowest level and describes about the storage of data in the lower data structures. That means this model deals with which level? The physical level, which is the innermost level. So, innermost level deals with how the data is stored, by using which data structures. That will be dealt by using this model, physical data model. And in this model, what are the different types of models that we gone through is nothing but unifying model and frame memory model. So, till now what we have discussed, the summary of today's session, we have discussed the structure of DBMS and database languages and data models. In the next section, let us discuss about one of the important models, that is nothing but ER model. Thank you.